So, what does Homer teach us about the Greek gods in the Odyssey? So, first of all, he teaches us about their behavior, and we can see that they're largely anthropomorphic. So, Athene is shown to be almost friends with Odysseus, and this is best shown in Book 13. So, she says, "We both know how to get our own way." And that comparison of Odysseus to herself shows the friendliness of their relationship. Gods also want revenge, so Poseidon wants revenge for Odysseus's blinding of Polyphemus, as mentioned by Zeus in Book 1. Gods also have affairs, like humans, so Ares and Aphrodite have an affair, which is described by Demodocus in Book 8. Um, and this is like humans in some ways, so they're not examples of morality, for example. On the flip side, you can argue that this does display a non-anthropomorphic side because they do get away with these affairs, whereas the maids who have relationships with the suitors get hanged at the end of the Odyssey. In terms of their appearance, they are also anthropomorphic. The epithet white-armed is used for Athene, and that's also used to describe mortals. Um, but we don't see a god who isn't using a disguise, who is interacting with a mortal in the Odyssey. So in Book 13, Athene is disguising herself as a shepherd, and then she turns into a woman. And Odysseus describes Hermes as looking like a young man in Book 10. So it does seem that we don't know what their true appearance is, but in terms of disguises, they're largely anthropomorphic. In terms of how they're related to each other, it's mainly by family ties, and this is established in Book 1, where Athene refers to Zeus as father, and father of us all, and he addresses her as my child. And he also Homer also pretty early on sets out their specific roles. So in Book 1, Zeus is being referred to as King of Kings. Obviously, he is the king of the gods. Hermes is called our messenger, and he is the messenger god. Poseidon is referred to as sustainer of the earth, which is interesting, and I think that does relate to his role as the sea god, which is a powerful part of the earth. Poseidon is shown to be the antagonist, of course, because he causes the storm in Book 5, and Athene is the one who stops the wind in the same scene, so she's shown to be the patron goddess. In terms of how powerful they are, overall they are very powerful. So Poseidon obviously has control over nature, and obviously that's shown in Book 5 with the storm. But they're not omniscient. So Poseidon is away in Ethiopia at the start. He's not there to intervene in the Council of the Gods, and also he has to travel. Um, and they're not all powerful. So Zeus specifically mentions Aegisthus because he goes against their wishes, and plots against Agamemnon. Um, and then there is also a hierarchy of power. So Zeus obviously makes the important decisions. He's the one who decides on the plans for Odysseus, and he also ends the war in Ithaca. Whereas Calypso mentions that goddesses are usually not allowed to have affairs with mortals, even though gods do. So there is a hierarchy and sort of an imbalance of power there. Overall, though, they are still very powerful and impressive in the Odyssey.